and regret that he took his own life. God gave Joshua a second chance. Come on, Joshua, get it done. Caleb, come on. Come on, boys. Get it done. Second chance. David got a second chance after Bathsheba. Do you not realize he is still recognized as the best king in Israel? Israel's flag today is the Star of David. You talking about a second chance after Bathsheba, after the child from that night out died? Second chance. Gideon, second chance. How many times you gonna floss God? How many times you gonna fleece God? Floss God. Fleece God. How many times you gonna fleece God? Hosea gave his wife a second chance. That woman was in the streets, y'all, and he gave her a second chance. God is the God of second chances. But the second chance that we often overlook, that we rush into his life and do not pay attention to the second chances that Moses got. So let's walk through them. Let's walk through them. It's not going to take us long, but it's going to take us long enough for you to get this revelation. 4 things I'm going to share with you. 4 things. Here's the first thing about the second chance is this: everyone has done something they regret. Just stop. Cut it out. All the perfect folk, you can sign off, because I just want to talk to real people. I do. I want to talk to the people who have stubbed your toe, stumbled and fell, did not get it right. Not once, but more than once. I want to talk to you. Every one of us has done something we regret. Look at verse 12. Looking this way and that, and seeing no one, he killed the Egyptian and hid him in the sand. Now, I want you to get this. Here is the regret. Here is the thing that I really want you to get as we unpack this. I told you we're going to get some revelation here. Now, why does the writer tell us that Moses hid the Egyptian in the sand? Why does the writer tell us that? Why is that relevant? You would think that the relevant thing is that he killed the Egyptian. No. Remember, Moses is a prince of Egypt. Taking a lower ranked person was no big deal. He could not be tried or convicted of that. The prince and the pharaoh had life in their hands. So that's not the deal. The deal is of regret is he buries him in the sand. The sand does not give Egyptians their doorway in their minds to the next stage of life, the dark side, if you will. That's why they build the pyramids. They build a pyramid so that they can then be placed in the pyramid or in some kind of embalmed state so that they can then live the afterlife in the death part of life, if you will, from their thinking. That I'm going into the afterlife, into the death. I got to get a burial that is equal to or the dignity of an Egyptian. Burying him in the sand does not give that dead Egyptian the opportunity to move on in his death. So the regret is that Moses, not that he killed, but that Moses buries him in the sand. All of us have buried stuff in the sand. Come on. Every last one of us. It wasn't the first thing that we did wrong. It was the second thing. You know what they always say. It's the cover-up, baby, that takes you out. It was the cover-up that took him out. It was the lie that took him out. It wasn't that the thing that you did if you would just have confessed. But nevertheless, no matter what the situation is, the regret is strong. So he regret. And all of us have hid stuff in the sand that we have a major regret. Second thing is this: correction comes in many forms. Correction comes in many forms. I want you to check this out. Verse 14. Now remember, Moses is a prince of Egypt. A prince of Egypt. Notice who corrects him. The man said, not even a name, who made you ruler and judge over us. Are you thinking of killing me as you killed the Egyptian? Then Moses was afraid and thought, what I did must have got out. You know it did, bro. What you talking about? Everybody talking about that. That's the talk of the town. And the fact is, notice that a man, a Hebrew, lesser on the social stage, status stage as Moses, he's the one that brings correction. He's the one that brings in correction. Got to be mindful that, you know what? Before you can get to a second chance, you got to understand there's going to be somebody that's going to bring correction. Don't push back. Don't push back. Some of us are very, very hard to correct. We just, you know what? I'd rather, you want the certain person to correct you. Trust, there are times when God will send the person that you least respect to correct you. When you least want to hear from that person, that's the person God will bring up to put you in your place. Why? To teach you some humility. To teach you some coming down. Knock you off a peg or two. So, here he is. He has great regret. All of us have had regret. Now we have the correction from somebody that we don't expect. Here's the third thing. The road to recovery has twists and turns. The road to your second chance is going to be some twists and turns, baby. In verse 16 and 17, it says this. Now a priest of Midian had 7 daughters, and they came to draw water and fill the troughs to water their father's flock. Okay, the 17th verse. Some shepherds came along and drove them away, but Moses got up and came to their rescue and watered their flocks. Moses, okay, he's kicked out of Egypt, and as a result of being kicked out of Egypt, he's on the backside of the mountain of God, and lo and behold, now some Midianites come trying to take the well water from the sheep, from Jethro's daughters who are out tending the sheep. And you would never think that in this situation, Zipporah would become his wife, Jethro would become his father-in-law, and here sits the return, his comeback. But the twist and turn of that, you've gone from being a prince of Egypt to now a shepherd on the backside of a mountain. You took 40 years living your best life. Now 40 years is going to be living what one could say your worst life in comparison. Twists and turns. I want you to understand something. When God is trying to bring you back, when God is trying to bring you out of a situation, when God is trying to make you the comeback kid, when God is trying to do a work in your life, it's going to be some twists and turns, and humility is the way. What do you think Moses thought on the backside of that mountain, smelling like sheep? Come on now. Wasn't able to take a shower for days on end. What do you think went through his mind? He was broken. It's a broken man. That's why when he goes up to the burning bush, when he goes up, and that's our next thing here, when he goes up to that, he does not see how he is even worthy, but that's where God wants him. When God's bringing you back, my mother used to say this, son, I need you to do this. Humble yourself. If you're low and humble, God can use you. I'll never forget her saying those words to me. Son, if you're low and humble, God can use you. In order for you to come back, you got to strip yourself of your pride. You got to strip yourself of how you thought things should have worked out. You got to strip yourself of that. If you want to come back, you got to let some things go and know it's going to be some twists and turns. And part of that twisting and turning is like a screw going into wood, because it's got to carve out to make space for where he's trying to take you and get through the pride that's there. The pride that's there. There is Moses. Twist and turn coming back. Here's the fourth and final thing. God is a God of second chances. Look at verse 4 and 5 of the 3rd chapter. When the Lord saw that he had gone over to look, God called to him from within the bush, Moses, Moses. For all we know, he could have been saying, here's your second chance, man. And Moses said, here I am. Do not come any closer, God said. Here it is. Here's how we know it. Take off your sandals, for the place where you are standing is holy ground. I've said it before, it bears repeating. Sandals reflect where he has been and the dirt that is accumulated on his life. And God says, don't bring to me where you've been, because I'm about to give you a second chance to take you to the place where I want you to go. God is getting ready to give some of you all right now a second chance. But you've got to grab a hold of knowing that there's going to be some twists and turns. Know that you're going to have to submit yourself to some people that you never thought that you would have to hear from. You're going to have to understand that everybody has made a mistake. You're not perfect. Here's the life application I need you to grab. 3 of them. Number 1, stop begging for what God has given. Stop begging for what God has given. God has given grace. And sometimes when you go for a second chance with that relationship and you begging Benny, stop begging. God has already given you forgiveness. God has already given you grace. Oh, I'm not suggesting at all that you do not ask for someone to forgive. I'm not suggesting at all that you make an effort to make things right. But sometimes we can forget the thing that we're trying to get right, God has already forgiven. He don't even remember it. Number 2, take off your sandals and move on with your life. Take them off and move on with your life. God is saying, I'm giving you a second chance. And one of the things that we do so often is that we get stuck in our past. Said it before, I'll say it again. There is a reason why the windshield is bigger than the rearview mirror. Because it's got a whole big place where you're going. You only need to see a little bit so that you can remember the pain that gives you the power to press into your future. Take off your sandals and move on with your life. The third thing is the road to recovery is filled with grace. Don't be surprised. As the scripture says, a righteous man in Proverbs 24:16 falls down what? How many times? Come on. How many times? How many times? 7. And there is a grace to get back up again. Because what Satan loves to do is to get you caught up into, man, I did it again. Yes, you did do it again. You sure did. You're going to lose ground because you did it again. But the fact is, now therefore is no condemnation for those who believe. Yeah. The road to recovery is filled with grace. You are. Write it in the chat area. Put it in your spirit. Repeat after me. I am the comeback kid. I am going to make great use of my second chance because I got a second win at my back. What you going through right now? What you dealing with right now? What is the thing that you said, if I just had another shot at it? If I just had, I would have kept my mouth shut. I would have done this, that, or the other. What is it? Well, God is giving you a second chance. If you want to give your life to Christ right now, if you want to connect with this church, text the word decision to 71441. They're going to put it on the screen. Text the word decision to 714. You want someone to pray with you? You still living under a cloud of guilt? Yes, you did it. Yes, you did. But God's grace is sufficient, even when you've done wrong. He's going to give you a second chance and then put a second wind in your back. Oh, I already know. I already know. Just respond. Give your life to Christ. It's ABC. Admit, believe, and confess. Connect with the church. They put it on there. The Lord be with you. May His face shine upon you. Give you peace. What I want you to do now is do this for me. Just want you to make sure that you let us know that you heard the word tonight, that you're going to live the word. You're going to walk it out. Put that in the area as well. I'll continue this Sunday with more of Second Wind. We're not done because all of us need a second chance. See you Sunday. God bless you. May the Lord's face shine upon you. Give you peace. Share this eChurch. Don't keep it to yourself. Bye now.
Life Changers, before you close eChurch, don't forget to give your tithes, offering, and generosity matching. There are multiple ways to give. May God bless you, and thank you for being a part of eChurch. IDEX Media does a lot. From IDEX Photography to IDEX Films. We help create forever memories and forever impressions. Imagination, image a world. IDEX Media.